The Madman! Welcome to today's set of the 5 revealed cards. We'll start with Cheap Shot, Rogue Echo spell. 2 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion. Backstab, for 0 mana, deals 2 damage to a minion. For 2 mana, you can get Eviscerate, which is kind of like 2 cheap shots. And once you're paying 8 to 10 mana, then you might as well just play Vilespine Slayer, right? You can use it with spell damage. And then for 10 mana, you can deal 15 damage to minions. Wow. There's the case to be made about jnZaneHD Auctioneer, or cards with combo. But just because a card is flexible doesn't mean it'll be good. See cards such as the Forbidden Cycle and Whispers of the Old Gods, where Forbidden Flame was only played because it was a 1-of in Kazakus. Rogue also gets Cursed Castaway, 6 mana 5/3 Rush. Death Rattle, draw a combo card from your deck. And I feel like this card might be underrated on first glance. You might compare it initially with a card like Starfire. It's not in the worst case. It's Starfire because Rush can get blocked by Taunt. And sometimes you don't have any combo cards left in your deck. That's the worst case. But these are all kinda not that likely situations. In the worst case, I'd say this is Starfire, but in the best case, this is Starfire that comes with a 5/1 or a 5/2. And that's pretty solid. I think the card is fairly comparable to Lotus Agents. This one gives you a powerful card that's in your deck, so it's probably better than the Discover effect. And for 1 mana more, you get to rush something down. I think that's well worth it. I could see this in your mid-range tempo rogue. Like, I'm saying that as 2 different possibilities. A mid-range deck, a tempo rogue deck, value type of rogue deck. Next up we have Chameleos, and I think this just took over as my favorite card of the set. 1 mana, 1/1, but don't really pay attention to that part. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a card your opponent is holding. A lot like Shifter Xeris, which I thought was a great card. However, Shifter Xeris ended up being a terrible card. So for the same reason, Chameleos could end up being a bad card. I think this would be a little bit of a surprise because Shifter Xeris can turn into any minion, and there are some pretty bad minions. Chameleos turns into a card that's in your opponent's hand, and typically your opponent is playing some pretty good cards. Can turn into minions or spells. Like Shifter Xeris, you have to draw it and then you have to hold it for a turn, and then it does something, and then you can play it the next turn. So that's one negative of it. Terrible top deck. But that does show that Chameleos is way stronger in the control matchup because you can selectively wait for something awesome. Like you can become Frostlich Jaina, you can become Bloodreaver Gul'dan, you can become Deathstalker Rexxar. Wow. It operates every single turn, so eventually you get to hand hack your opponent and you get to know exactly what they're playing. And that's why it's a very strong card in Control v Control. Where it might not be as strong is copying aggro cards is not typically very good. And where else it isn't good is that unlike typical deck building where you're building a deck in order to have synergy internally, Chameleos will just give you something from the opponent's side, which will not necessarily synergize with your deck. However, the same can be said about Curious Glimmerroot. The card itself was efficient enough as a 3 mana 3/3 draw card that it saw play in quite a lot of priest decks. For the same reason Chameleos could. So really interesting card, has a lot of upside, has some downside too. Probably more downside than most people realize because I've been burned by Shifter Xeris before. Nonetheless, an awesome card which I'm sure a wide variety of priest decks will be very excited to try. I think it will end up disappointing people, but even if it does, it still ends up being like a really cool card. Back to back, here's another priest legendary, the Lady in White, 6 mana 5/5 Battlecry. Cast Inner Fire on every minion in your deck. So this is a card that clearly you have to build your deck around. It's a legendary, so you're not going to really get the effect consistently also. Kind of like Prince Keleseth, you're not guaranteed to be able to draw and play this. And if you've built your deck around Lady in White, you do want to play Lady in White. That said though, you don't have to build your deck too hard around Lady in White. You can just include a bunch of good cards, and there is an archetype out there right now, which Lady in White seems like it would fit into. It's clearly some sort of control priest which has minions in it, and a dragon baseline is pretty decent because dragons include Ysera, 12/12 for 9 mana, wow. Primordial Drake, which will become an 8 mana 8/8 taunt, wow, +4 attack. Ysera +8 attack. You can put in Stonehill Defender, which gets +3 attack. Northshower Cleric gets +2 attack. Doomsayer, if you put it into your deck, gets +7 attack. if they attack the Doomsayer to kill it to stop it from blowing up the board, then, I mean, they killed their own minions going into it. Tar Creeper gets +4 attack, becomes a 7/5 on the opponent's turn. And you've noticed that I've listed all like competitive cards, good cards. I'm not mentioning something like a Mogushin Warden, which you could put in your deck, but you're looking to not really slide too many memes into the deck, I'd say, because you're not guaranteed to draw Lady in White. You want just cards that are good by default. Perhaps the one downside is Twilight Acolyte gets buffed to a 4/4, and you're usually seeking to swap that with your opponent's cards, so that's a slight nerf to the Acolyte. You probably still run the Acolyte anyways, though, and it does only cast it on the minions in your deck, so if you've drawn it already, or if you've played it already, then no problem. So the way I see this is you put it into a control type deck with minions with large health, and you don't plan on drawing the Lady in White, but nice bonus if you can get her out early. And finally, last and least, we have Black Owl Gunspire, the other warrior legendary. 7 mana, 3/8, can't attack. Okay, well, this next part better be really good. Whenever this minion takes damage, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. What this card does is basically each time you cast Whirlwind, it's like you're casting Swipe, with the main target of Swipe being random. With it costing 7 mana, it's difficult to combo with too many Whirlwind type effects, but if it does survive, you get to go on the Warpath next turn for just basically swiping 5 times. Swipe, 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 swipe. But yeah, it's a freaking tower with a bunch of cannons on it. You could do some really cute stuff with Faceless Manipulator or Sudden Genesis, but I think ultimately this will be meme status. If you want to kill your opponent in a really fantastic way, bust out the Black Owl Gunspire. But if you want to actually win the game, probably don't bust out the Black Owl Gunspire. So there you have it. Do you think Black Owl Gunspire is actually the next Ragnaros?
You'd be wrong.
But stay tuned for the next review.